Have you ever poured your heart and soul into a project, only to have everyone tell you it's a complete waste of time? I mean, they laugh, they mock, they call your brilliant idea useless. Well, today I want to share a story about a woman who faced exactly that, and how her useless creation became an absolute lifesaver. This is the story of a shelter that was laughed at in the summer, until it was the only cool place left standing. Our story begins in a small, tight-knit community, a place where everyone knows everyone, and new ideas are often met with a healthy dose of skepticism. Let's call our protagonist Sarah. Sarah wasn't an architect or a professional builder. She was a hobbyist, a dreamer, and someone deeply concerned about the changing climate and the increasingly extreme weather hitting her town year after year. For months, Sarah had been working on a small, peculiar-looking structure in her backyard. It wasn't a typical shed or a fancy gazebo. It was built with unconventional materials, thick, insulated walls made from recycled composites, a roof painted with a special reflective coating, and strategically placed vents designed for passive airflow. It had a semi-subterranean design, dug a few feet into the ground. To her neighbors, it looked odd. They'd walk by, shake their heads, and muttered things like, "What in the world is she building now?" When they asked, Sarah would excitedly explain her vision. "It's an all-weather emergency shelter," she'd say. "It's designed to stay warm in the winter without much heating, and cool in the summer without any air conditioning." This is where the laughter started, a shelter for the summer. In their region, summers were usually mild, pleasant. People spent their time outdoors, enjoying the sun. The idea of needing a special cool shelter seemed absurd. "A winter shelter, maybe I get it," one neighbor said to her. "But for summer, we have shade trees and fans, Sarah. What you're building is useless for half the year." The nickname stuck. It became known as Sarah's useless summer box. The kids in the neighborhood would joke about it. Adults would politely smile and change the subject whenever she brought it up. Despite the constant, low-level ridicule, Sarah kept working. She believed in her design. She had done the research, studied principles of passive cooling, thermal mass, and earth sheltering. She knew the theory was sound, even if her neighbors didn't. She trusted the science. She finished her project just as spring was turning into summer. The shelter was complete, a silent, stoic testament to her persistence, sitting in her backyard, largely ignored. The first few weeks of summer were beautiful, just as everyone expected. Mild temperatures, gentle breezes. Sarah's shelter sat empty. The "I told you so" looks from her neighbors were subtle, but she felt them. She started to doubt herself. Had she wasted all that time and money? Was her idea really useless? Then, the forecast changed. A heat wave was coming. Not just any heat wave, but a record-breaking heat dome event. Meteorologists were using words like unprecedented and dangerous. The temperature was predicted to soar well over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, or 38 degrees Celsius, for several days straight. The first day of the heat wave was brutal. The air was thick and heavy. By noon, the asphalt on the streets was soft. People who had been so confident in their fans and shade trees were now struggling. Homes without central air conditioning, which was most of them in this traditionally mild climate, quickly became ovens. People started crowding into the few public libraries and community centers that had AC, but they were quickly overwhelmed. That afternoon, Sarah's next-door neighbor, an elderly man named Mr. Henderson, who lived alone with his dog, was having a hard time. His small house had turned into a sauna. He was feeling dizzy and unwell. Sarah, checking in on him, saw how much he was struggling. She hesitated for a moment, then said, "Mr. Henderson, I know it sounds silly, but would you like to come and sit in my shelter for a while? I think it might be cooler in there." Desperate, he agreed. He shuffled over, leaning on Sarah for support. As she opened the heavy, insulated door, a wave of cool air washed over them. It was like stepping into a different world. Inside, the air was calm, still, and remarkably comfortable. Mr. Henderson sank into a chair Sarah had placed inside, a look of pure relief on his face. His dog, who had been panting heavily, immediately lay down on the cool concrete floor and let out a happy sigh. Sarah had placed a simple thermometer inside. While the temperature outside was climbing to a scorching 105 degrees, inside her shelter, it was a comfortable 75 degrees. That's a 30-degree difference. With zero electricity, zero air conditioning. It was all passive design. The Earth's sheltering was drawing the coolness from the ground. The thick insulation was blocking the heat from penetrating. The reflective roof was bouncing the sun's rays away, and the ventilation system was creating a slow, steady airflow. It worked. It worked better than she had ever dreamed. Word spread faster than the heat. Mr. Henderson's daughter came to check on him and was astonished. She called another neighbor. Soon a small group of people were gathered outside Sarah's backyard, curious and a little sheepish. "Is it really cool in there?" one of them asked, fanning their face with a piece of cardboard. "Come in and see for yourself," Sarah said with a welcoming smile. One by one, they entered. The family with a newborn baby who couldn't sleep in the heat. The young couple who were worried about their asthmatic son. The same people who had called her project useless were now looking at it with awe and gratitude. They brought chairs, water, and snacks, turning the shelter into a small, impromptu community cooling center. Inside Sarah's useless summer box, neighbors who had once mocked her were now sharing stories, playing cards with their kids, and looking after one another. The shelter wasn't just a physical refuge from the heat. It became a social hub, strengthening the bonds of their community in a time of crisis. The heat wave lasted for 4 agonizing days. For those 4 days, Sarah's shelter was a beacon of hope and relief. When the heat finally broke, and a cool rain began to fall, the community was different. The skepticism was gone, replaced by a profound respect. They didn't call it the useless summer box anymore. They called it the lifeboat. The town council invited Sarah to present her design. They wanted to learn how to build more structures like hers, creating a network of community climate shelters. Her project, born from a personal passion and met with public ridicule, was now the model for the town's climate adaptation strategy. This story is about so much more than just a clever building. It's a powerful reminder to trust your vision, even when no one else understands it. Innovation often looks strange at first. The solutions to tomorrow's problems might seem useless today. Sarah faced doubt and ridicule, but she held on to her knowledge and her belief in what she was doing. She wasn't trying to prove anyone wrong. She was trying to solve a problem she saw coming. And in the end, her foresight, her hard work, and her slightly odd-looking box did just keep people cool. It brought up community together and showed them a path forward in a changing world. So, the next time you have an idea that seems a little out there, or you see someone working on a project that doesn't make sense to you, maybe pause before you judge. You might just be looking at the next useless idea that's about to save the day. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please give it a like and subscribe for more. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever worked on a project that everyone doubted? Let's talk about it. See you in the next video.